Hey, thank you for watching Infinite Realms. Today, the retro review. Go back in time and look at the WWE's Four Horsemen, three of the Four Horsemen Elite Pack. This was from 2011, from their induction into the Hall of Fame. It is Arn Anderson, Telly, Blanchard, and Barry Windham. Now, from what I can tell from the press photos I've seen of this, or the sale photos, it's only missing Barry's vest, so I just decided I didn't need it. It's not a big deal, not a big accessory. I find it really odd too that you look for this same packs version of Telly and Arn, and they're actually selling for more than Telly, Arn, and Barry. That's weird to me. I don't know how things like that happen, but neither here nor there. So with each one, we have double jointed legs, single jointed arms, because this is back in the day before Mattel figured out how to double joint arms, and an ab crunch and a waist swivel, I guess, and a little bit of a ball joint in the head. Then again, these are the only two. These two are the only versions of Telly and Arn. The other one was a Brainbusters pack that is almost impossible to get. It's through the roof. So that's my justification for this one. Just because, I wanted these guys somewhere in my wrestling figures. Now, I would have liked it if maybe they put a robe on Telly, jacket on Arn, and etc. The Ric Flair of this set, never really, I don't know, there was something about that Flair I didn't like. I could never put my finger on it, but I didn't like that version of Flair. There's plenty of other versions of Ric Flair that you can add in. It will be perfectly fine. So the Four Horsemen, for those who don't know, they were the big faction back in the day of WCW. They pretty much held all the titles most of the time. You almost never could turn on NWA Wrestling and not see the Four Horsemen somewhere. In their legendary battles they had with so many famous wrestlers, from Magnum TA all the way up to Sting to Dusty Rhodes, and it was fantastic. It was a great time to be a wrestling fan, as most of you probably know by now. If you don't know who the Four Horsemen are, you're kidding yourself. You need to go find out. And I was kind of glad that he added Barry into this and left Ole out. I don't know. Ole seems a little sour in his old age, to say the least. And I don't know. There was something I wasn't really keen on with the Ole Anderson version of the Four Horsemen. I thought they didn't really come into their own until Barry came in. So I was really kind of cool with that, Yeah, throughout their history, it got a little convoluted. Sting joined them for a little while. That was like, well, Sid Vicious was in there. And Lex Luger was in there. I never really understood those people being in. Steve Mongo McMichael was in there. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really feel like they were legitimized again until it was Benoit, Malenko, and Anderson and Flair. And for some reason, I thought that run ran longer than it did. I found out recently it was only like around 8 months. But I could have swore that was a longer run than that. But still, the Horsemen were and are one of the legendary factions of wrestling. And almost every faction that gets formed gets compared to the Four Horsemen in every iteration. They are probably the only faction in history that probably outdoes the Four Horsemen. Would be the NWO. I wanted, when the Brainbusters came into WWF back in the day and Flair was still hanging around, I wanted there to be a Four Horsemen stable in the WWF. And, of course, probably, maybe it got suggested, I don't know. But I'd be willing to bet also that Vince would say, that's a South thing. They don't know what it is. Yeah, and blown it off like he blew off the main event of WrestleMania for Hogan versus Flair. Till the day I die, I can't believe Vince McMahon blew off that main event. But I'm not going to harp on that too much. Telly, Blanchard, and Arn Anderson did win the WWF tag team titles, which was a great accomplishment. They beat Demolition. So, you know, that was all. I always thought that was pretty cool. They had a great rivalry with the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Shawn Michaels credits them for teaching him a lot about ring psychology. So these guys really had an impact on wrestling. And we can still see Telly in AEW. He's in a more managerial role, as is Arn. So it's good to kind of see them still hanging around and being on camera. I always liked them. I always thought they were the cool heels, you know. I mean, them, Piper, yeah, they were always the cool heels. So this pack, I mean, it's a retro review, just keeping that in mind. It's not like, you know, it's not like we're looking at it with today's lens. So you got to be careful with these retro reviews because you don't want to give too high a rating because it's really great, and you don't want to give too low a rating. A few words I will say is, you know, the head sculpts are pretty darn good. Those are good. It definitely captures the likeness of each of the Four Horsemen. So, gotta give them kudos for that. Articulation is good enough. I mean, by today's standards, it's a little weak, but for its time, it's still pretty good. You can get some pretty good poses out of them. So, overall, I'm gonna give these guys 4 stars for each horseman, even though we have one absent. I think they're that good. I mean, they are pretty good. I mean, the paints are good. I mean, more accoutrements would have helped, as I said, but it's, you know, I think they only had this one shot at it too, and it might be the, you know, people involved. You know, they said you have this one shot and that's it, and that's why we've never seen any since. I mean, Flair's kind of let him redo his stuff a lot, but I don't think the others were too keen on that, and they just didn't bother. So, which is fine. I mean, I don't, you know, you also can't blame them either. I mean, why would they want to make money? Just kidding. All right, so yeah, I'll give it 4 stars. It's a cool set. Definitely worth what I traded for it. I'm really happy to have this because this was one of those sets I had back in the day. I had the full set, and I'm really glad to get it back. It's a nice set. And, you know, yeah, it could have been better, but it's, you know, it might have been worse too. And we got some of the legends of legends in this set, so that's a plus too. Alright, that's my review of the Four Horsemen. Hey, there are some comparison shots to some other wrestling figures, and we'll leave it at that. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys have a great one, alright?